My name is Laurent. I'm the technology leader for CAMBIA. CAMBIA is a 100-year-old company based out of Portland, Oregon. We've been operating for a little over 100 years in the Pacific Northwest, and core mission is to serve people and help them live better lives. My particular role, I lead technology for the company, and one of the things I'm excited to share with you are the tremendous opportunities that exist in the healthcare industry for people to come in and individuals who have passion, who have great skills, great energy, to come in and make a huge difference in an industry that's incredibly complex. Maybe before I get into some of the specifics of what makes the complexity and the opportunity in healthcare, I'll share a couple things about myself and why I'm focused in healthcare. I was very blessed after I got to graduate with a degree in material science and engineering to actually work in one of my great passions, which is race cars and performance automobiles. I was working in Switzerland for some of the well-known European car companies such as BMW and Mercedes and Porsche, and got to work in the rally racing space, and that was obviously tremendously exciting as a young engineer. After that, I got to work in the oil and gas industry, especially based out of Florence, Italy. Some tremendously ambitious projects with Russian Trans-Siberian natural gas pipelines, enabling pipelines that were transmitting gas from Algeria to Central Europe. Worked after that in the broadcasting business, leading technology for NBC. This was at a time when everything was moving from analog to digital, and we were rethinking the way of transforming what was a TV network into a digital media company. And following that, joined an energy business where, in this case, it was about leveraging advanced communication and internet capabilities to allow engineers to work on some of the most remote power generation sites in the world, on offshore oil platforms, to be able to produce the energy they needed to do so. And of course, all of these is a very heavyweight technology, incredibly exciting for somebody who works as an engineer, especially in materials, and certainly weren't disappointing for me as a person and as a professional. What I found, however, is that as exciting as it is to work for this kind of heavy metal machinery with this incredibly powerful technology, the purpose I was serving was more industrial and by definition less personal. And as I left the energy industry, I joined the healthcare industry and discovered very rapidly that you can not only work with incredibly exciting new technology, but at the same time solve problems both at a personal level as well as a national scale. And the healthcare industry, both in its purpose to serve people in their communities, but also in its incredible complexity, gives you incredible opportunities. And it's an area that I think would be fabulous for new professionals. Just to give you some ideas about this complexity, there's over 6,000 hospitals just in the United States alone. Of these hospitals, there's probably about 230,000 physician offices, so small doctor practices in your towns and your communities. And to make things complex, all of this is being managed and paid by over 800 health insurance, health plan companies. If you take all of these together, and you add on top of that the fact that there's over 165,000 mobile apps out there, whether they're on iOS or an Android, and you try to imagine how any one normal individual could sort of make sense of all these hospitals, all these doctors and physician offices, all these insurers across 50 states in the nation, and then you add on top of that, of course, the stress and the anxiety that somebody usually has when they're facing a health challenge. You can imagine it's hard, it's stressful, it's unfortunately very expensive, and it's not getting any easier. One of the neat things, in my opinion, certainly for me now, but I think even more so for you, is that you can have a very direct meaningful impact on solving this problem. 20 years ago, you had to be a doctor or a nurse or a pharmacist to enter healthcare. Today, you can be an artificial intelligence data scientist, you can be a computer scientist, you can be an economist, you can be a psychologist, a sociologist, you can be a public policy expert. There are so many different ways of having an impact because fundamentally the system is so complex and the needs of the individuals are such that the action that ultimately impacts an individual's life and the quality of their life, not only for themselves but their family, is not taking place within the hospital setting, which is where the bulk of the expenditures and the money and the resources are currently being spent. But actually 80% of what controls and ultimately impacts your life is happening prior to that. And so if we can learn from non-healthcare industries like the Ubers and the Lyfts, the Airbnbs, the Amazons, not to mention TikTok and Instagram and other social media platforms, and if we could learn from those non-healthcare solutions, if we could bring to healthcare these technologies that ultimately eliminate the distance, eliminate the formality, dramatically reduce the complexity, ultimately will have a tremendous impact in helping people just have a better relationship with their doctors, have a better emotional connection with the individuals who can help them, and also have far less stress and far less cost and financial impact by getting the answers they need without dealing with all the bureaucracy and the barriers that unfortunately today we all face as we are part of that. So, without getting into a lot of details, I think this is a tremendous field. This is an area where everyone, regardless of their personal interest from a technical or professional standpoint, can participate in. It is not just reserved to doctors, nurses, and pharmacists. And the opportunity to make an incredible difference for people, for yourselves, for your families, your communities, the people you love today, but especially in the future, is extraordinary. I have been very lucky to work in multiple industries, always as a technologist, as I mentioned, from automotive, plastics, oil and gas, broadcasting, energy, and healthcare has really been the first industry in which I found that you can have an incredibly personal purpose, where you can work on some of the most sophisticated, most exceptional cutting-edge technologies, the most complex scale problems, and at the same time come home or meet with your friends and talk about them, and every single person can relate at a deeply personal level to the impact you're having. So, with that, I hope some of you will kind of dig in and do some research. I certainly would love to meet some of you if you're interested. And I think this would be a fabulous area to have new talent join and individuals who are truly driven by a purpose to changing the way we live, changing the way our futures promise to be, and making it so much easier for all of us to focus on what's important to us rather than the bureaucracy, the cost, and the anxiety of getting the care you need. So with that, I wish you all the best. Thank you for spending a few minutes listening to me, and all the best. Take care.